Tottenham 3, Bodo Glimt 1. Now that result should be enough to get Tottenham Hotspur over the line, but it's not going to be easy in Bodo. Artificial pitch, they do have a good home record, and I feel like that goal that Tottenham conceded late was a bit of a blow because I see a lot of Tottenham fans being very negative, and I think there's a bit of an overreaction. You play well, you won 3-1, but I guess it's that history of, oh, if Bodo score a goal early on, they only need one more to get the tie to a draw, and that shakiness of Tottenham and holding leads and all of that. And I think Tottenham could have easily killed off the game. It could have been 4-5-0. I think the subs, I think Madison was injured, Solanke maybe killed momentum a little bit. I thought Tottenham were unbelievable in the first half, playing some fantastic football. Just didn't come out quite the same in the second half. But the goal was very lucky and you were all over them. And yes, it will be more difficult away from home. But, you know, look at the Frankfurt game, how you thought that was going to be difficult and you needed more goals in the home tie to beat Frankfurt, and you went and beat Frankfurt. I think Tottenham are through to the final. I don't think Bodo Glimt have the quality to go to the final. I know they're at home. I know they've been good this season, but I think Tottenham's physicality was too much for them. So therefore, Ange got his game plan spot on. And unless Tottenham bottle it, and, you know, you do have a history of that, I think you will pretty much be in the final. And it looks like Man United are going to be in the final. Hopefully. But honestly, I'm annoyed that we didn't score 4 because they were down to 10 men and we were so dominant. I'm annoyed we didn't score 4, to be honest, and take advantage of that. But I'm going to say this as a Man United fan before I get into what we learned from the game and before I take a few digs at Arsenal, actually, because I have to say the difference in tifo and environments today was crazy. I want Bodo Glimt to win the next leg. I'm going to say that as a United fan. I do think Man United Tottenham final is better on paper. It's the desperation. Both teams need this to save their season. But I'd rather play Bodo than Tottenham in the final. And I was thinking in my head, Tottenham beaten us 3 times this season. Surely Tottenham don't beat us 4 times in one season. Like, that's my reasoning for Man United beating Tottenham in the final. It's like, surely you can't beat us 4 times in one season. Surely. But you have such a good record against us. And I think the reason Man United are unbeaten in the Europa League this season is because the Premier League, when it comes to physicality and press, it's a different level. Man United have not had to deal with the same physical levels in the Europa League, which I think, again, is why Tottenham have been quite dominant. And I think with Tottenham, with them being a good pressing side, with them being a good physical side, Man United will struggle. Man United was shocking the first 25 minutes versus Bilbao. Shocking. Maguire brilliance, Casemiro header, then they get a man sent off and the game was changed. Because Bilbao were pressing us like crazy. The energy, the physicality, but more so the press, we couldn't deal with it. They went down to 10 when the press stopped, we were fine. If Tottenham bring the physicality, which they will, and the press, I feel like Man United are going to struggle, whereas Bodo will sit off us. And once Bilbao sat off us because they went down to 10 men, we were so much better. So I don't actually want to play Tottenham in the final because I think Tottenham could beat us. I do worry. But let's talk about the game and obviously my thoughts on the game and all of that. But yeah, first things first, obviously was more focused on the Man United game than the Tottenham game. But the atmosphere and the environment at Tottenham, from what I heard, from what I saw, looked fantastic. The tifo, fantastic. Everything fantastic. Arsenal, and I was giving Arsenal stick in my match reaction about them the other day. European semi-final, PSG, Champions League semi-final. The tifo looked like it was from Poundland, Arsenal. Poundland. But then you went quiet. The Emirates was a library after Dembele scored. A library. Look at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Loud, roaring, the tifo. Because the crowd can be the 12th man on a big European night. It's knockout football. I think Man United versus Lyon, the crowd helped us a little bit as well when we had that great comeback. Yeah, but let's talk about the game. First things first, I think Bentancur would be my man of the match, but I thought Madison was excellent. I think Ange got it spot on, you know, actually tactically using physicality, using his fullbacks well. Pedro Porro was excellent. What a ball to Madison. But Basuma, I was very surprised to see Basuma in there, but Bergvall's out. And someone said to me that Bergvall could be out for the rest of the season. So I don't know, Tottenham fans, if you know what the latest is on Bergvall's injury, but him and Son could be back for the rest of the season. Maybe they're back in time for the final. Huge blow, but I thought Basuma did all right. So let's get into the game. Let's have a conversation about the game. Strong result, setback finish for Tottenham. 3-1 is a good result for Tottenham, but conceding late leaves frustration, especially when you probably deserve to win that game 4-0. I think 3-1, the deflection, I think it's a bit of a blow because I think 3-0, you just know that. I think 4-0, which is what you should have been, you know Bodo aren't coming back into that. 3-1, if they get an early goal, they're going to be pushing for that equaliser to take it into extra time. They do have a good record. It's going to be cold. Well, actually, it's not that cold because it's going to be May. You know, it's an artificial pitch. If you don't have Solanke, Madison, if there are injury blows, of course, Tottenham, the history of bottling. I know that's why Tottenham fans are worried. And I've seen a lot of Tottenham fans annoyed that they won 3-1. And I'm like, you won 3-1. Before the game, if they said a 3-1 win, I think you'd have all been happy. But I think it's the matter in which you conceded late, where I've seen a few Tottenham fans annoyed about that and worried about the second leg, are more nervy. But I think you just have the quality. I think if you go 1-0 up, that's it. That's done. I think you just have the quality and the physicality today. The set pieces, the physical presence to get the job done. And I thought you were dominant for 70 minutes. I don't think Bodo really had a sniff. I think you were very good, actually, and controlled out possession, dealt with them well. In possession, decent. And I think on another day you win that game. And I think, this is not me disrespecting Bodo, but I think, quality-wise, you should get through. And I know Tottenham haven't been good this season. I'm a Man United fan. We also haven't been good this season. But I look at the players that you have on paper and look at the fact that you are the favourites. I think you should do enough to get through. But you just never know. So, let's talk about Ange's game plan, because Ange, it's been an interesting season for him. At times I felt sorry for him because I don't think he's had the support and he's had injuries and stuff, but he has got a lot wrong this season. And I think he'll probably leave Tottenham at the end of the season. But today, you have to give Ange credit where credit is due, and he got his tactics spot on. I thought Ange Postecoglou absolutely got his tactics spot on today. And whether he stays, whether he goes, that's yet to be known. I think if you don't win the Europa League, I think it's 100% gone. If you do win the Europa League, I think it's a 50-50 depending on who's available. Ange does say, I always win things in my second season or something. But I thought Ange got the spot on. You scored within 40 seconds, which I think got the crowd up, it got the mood up, it got the confidence up. It helps you. Scoring first always helps you. But what Ange did was he adjusted the lineup. I looked at that Tottenham lineup and I was like, But he did well. He used the fullbacks really well, bombing up, underlapping, overlapping, using, a doggy's quality at ball carrying, Porro's quality for passing. But what he did with Richarlison, which was an interesting pick, was the physicality. Put the ball in the box, Richarlison, headers. Use the physicality. Porro, delivery, ball in the box, physicality. You're stronger than them. You can physically cover more ground than them, win the set pieces, play out wide, put balls in the box. And that really worked. And then out of possession, you were organised. Bentancur and Maddison did very well. And I thought it was a very smart game plan from Ange. I thought he shut down Bodo's play quite well. And then you got the atmosphere on top of that. And I thought that Ange got his tactics spot on today. And it'll be interesting to see how he approaches the second leg. But Ange has done very well in the Europa League. Tottenham, a bit like Man United, it's not been good in the Premier League. But in the Europa League, both teams have been good, which makes the final a really interesting matchup, because it looks like United and Tottenham are set to play each other, but you never know. Do you remember when everybody thought a few years ago that it was going to be an Ajax-Barcelona Champions League final, and it's a Tottenham-Liverpool Champions League final? Let's talk about man of the match, Bentancur. Bentancur's very hit and miss. Sometimes I watch Bentancur and I'm like, oh, maybe Tottenham. Yeah, they need a midfielder. I was to watch Bentancur and I'm like, he's brilliant, but he lacks the consistency at times. But I think in the Europa League in general, when I've watched him, he has looked good. I think this was one of his best games of the season. 9 ball recoveries, 7 out of 8 ground duels won, 4 out of 4 aerial duels won, was not dispossessed once, 37 out of 48 passes. I felt that Bentancur won every duel today, and he basically did. He won 11 out of 12 duels today. He was everywhere. He kept winning the ball back. Every time Bodo, boom, Bentancur's there. I thought defensively, off the ball, physically, he was fantastic today. His performance reminded me of a Moises Caicedo level performance. And Moises Caicedo's been fantastic this season, winning back the ball. It was absolutely excellent. 0 times dispossessed. Fantastic. He won the ball, he recycled the ball, he carried it forward. It was just winning the ball, being dominant in the midfield. And I think he was man of the match. I thought Madison was good. I thought he put in the captain's performance, controlled the strings, but Bentancur was the composer, and he looked really good today. And I think, if he does more of that, maybe he stays at Tottenham. Because apparently there was a rumour he was going, but what was that Basuma? I can't remember. But I feel like this Bentancur's one of those, but sometimes I watch him, he's underwhelming. Sometimes I watch him, he's fantastic. But I do think that Bentancur has that quality. He does have that quality. He's always had that quality. You saw it when he first came to Tottenham. Maddison, goal control, creativity, proper captain's display. He ran the game. I thought he brought the tempo. He dropped deep. He was pointing at instructions. He was organising everyone. And I think one of the reasons that Tottenham dropped off after Madison came off is because he was organising people with his movement. He was pointing. It was like a captain's display. He was running the show, receiving the ball, scored the goal, making the runs. He was fantastic. And he reminded me a little bit of Bruno Fernandes today, where he was just making sure he was imposed and he was there and he was telling everybody what to do. In the European semi-final, you can be like a Martin Odegaard versus PSG and you can go completely missing, or you can be like a Bruno Fernandes who just, again, is saved Manchester United from an even more embarrassing season, who pops up with brilliant goal today, is everywhere, telling everywhere to go, commanding. And Madison, played a bit like Bruno Fernandes today. He could drop deep, receive the ball, can make the runs, can be the goal threat, can be everywhere, telling everyone where to go, always asking for the ball, always receiving the ball, composed. I thought he was excellent today. You know, Madison and Bruno Fernandes have completely shown up Martin Odegaard in these semi-finals. I thought he was absolutely excellent. And I think Madison is becoming quite an underrated player. I've always liked James Madison. I always thought he was good. Of course, there's the consistency thing, but he does get good output. He does get goals. He does get assists. I think, there's been times where he's not been played in his best position or, all of that. But I think Madison is a very good player. And I think his output and the level of quality he has, I think can be underrated by not just rival fans, but even Tottenham fans. I've always felt this quality there. The question is, I think Kulu's best in the 10 and Madison's best in the 10. Working them together with a midfielder like Bentancur to hold for the balance. There is always the question mark then. Let's give my other shout-outs. Porro, Udogie, Bissouma, I think all stepped up. Bissouma, surprise starter, but I think he was solid, justified it. I don't think he's the best player in the world. I think he will leave Tottenham, but I think he did the job. Pedro Porro was arguably a man of the match contender today. Lovely assist, ton of quality. The ball to Madison was excellent. I think with Pedro Porro, he wasn't being pressed. He had time on the ball. It was breaking down low blocks. He had a lot of time in possession, and that suits Pedro Porro's game. I thought Udogie looked back to his best. He was getting up and down the flank well. He was winning his duels. Udogie's someone that can get up and down the flank, good attacking, good ball carrier, really aggressive, can be on you, which I think is what Ange wanted, to just keep physically pushing them back. I thought his physicality and aggression was really good. And then you've got Pedro Porro, which is a completely different profile that's putting those balls in, that's a cross threat. When you've got physicality in the box, you've got people with the delivery of Pedro Porro, you've got people with the physical aggressiveness of Bentancur and Udogie today. You had that good mix, and I think it worked well. And I think if you play like that in Bodo, you will go through. I know Tottenham fans are worried because it's 3-1 and all of that, but I think if you play like you did today in Bodo, you will go through. But of course, it's a semi-final. It's a difficult game. You did drop off in the last 20 minutes. Madison, Solanke coming off killed the rhythm. The Bodo goal came from nothing, but that's a massive goal for them because now they need one early goal and then they've got it all to play for to take it to extra time. The tie isn't done, but if you stay composed, I think you'll win. I think it will be a Tottenham United final, but I don't want to jinx that. I don't want to jinx that, but I think it could be a Tottenham Man United final. 3-1, strong. 3-1, good result. Before the game, you take a 3-1. I think with the dominance of the game and how it could have been 4-0 at half-time, maybe it's frustrating. Bentancur and Maddison were fantastic. Spurs fans, a lot of them I spoke to seem nervous, but you are 1 foot in the final. And I don't want to play you in the final, to be honest. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.